This road's closed. There's signs clearly marking that on both sides of this of Scott Avenue here under the bridge. This car is failing to pay attention to that. He's giving us a wave though. He's fine. I think he's cussing at himself, it looks like. That is a closed bridge. And welcome to another edition of Mondays in Midtown, coming to you from a closed Grand Bridge and a closed Metrolink station right over my shoulder here. As this past week over spring break, Monday, March 14th, marked the day that the bridge was going to close down. It'll be closed down now for about 14 to upwards of 16 months. We're going to have a lot more on this bridge coming up in just a second, but just a quick little rundown of today's show. First and foremost, it's Education Week. Up there at St. Louis University. Education Week, we got a full week of activities from the Great Issues Committee, including tonight. There'll be a viewing of Waiting for Superman, but we'll get into the other Education Week stuff a little bit later in the program as well. We'll also have some input, I guess an interview, if you will, from spring training. Our own William McKenna went down to Jupiter, Florida over spring break to give you information on that. What else we got here on my sheet? We also have a look at the Japanese earthquake from one of SLU's seismologists, and a whole lot of other fun activities. But first, the Grand Bridge, it's closed. Now go ahead and take a look behind me here. Now the construction work today has already halted. It stopped around 3:30 this afternoon, but they have begun the demo of the bridge. Some of the paneling and some of the bridge surface itself, right over the Metrolink and over these railroad tracks, those are already, if you can pan up there, Taylor, those are already taken out. So there's no surface to even drive a car on in the center part. So they've already begun that demo. And the Metrolink station, as you can see, is closed. If you pan over there, there's actually some metal wiring and some pipes sitting on where usually passengers would wait for a Metrolink station. So that'll be closed for a few more weeks, the Metrolink station. They will reopen it in a few weeks after the bridge is brought down, and they'll have shuttle buses to get to this Metrolink station right here. But earlier in the week, as promised, Mondays in Midtown cameras were rolling when that bridge closed down on Monday, March 14th at 2 a.m.
Most people weren't at or near the Grand Bridge in the early morning hours on the first Monday of our spring break, but we were. And it was all because of a baker's dozen's worth of orange barricades.
It's about 2 o'clock on Monday morning, great conditions out here. 35 degrees and rain mixing in at times with sleet and snow. But this car, just a few hours, that car is going to have to pay attention to that detour as the Grand Bridge is about to close. Now, a big aspect of the closing of the Grand Bridge will be the closing, at least, of the Metrolink station from this access point on top of the bridge here. On both sides of the bridge, as you can pan over, you see that there are access points you can get off. So buses will stop right here in the middle of the road. Buses will stop, creating traffic hazards. The new Grand Bridge will have separate turnout lanes for those buses, but still, Grand Bridge construction will impact the Metrolink. You cannot get to it from this bridge. You'll have to go down to the adjacent Scott Avenue down here by presumably a shuttle of some sort. Now, Metro officials wanted this bridge to be closed before Monday morning's rush hour, simply because they didn't want any Metro users accessing the Metrolink station from this Grand Bridge. Now, I just got off the phone with some SLU students who will be coming down here to celebrate the closing, and we'll be right here, right at the last stop, because this off-ramp from eastbound 6440 will remain open during the duration of the project. So this will be the cutoff area, and this is where we'll be. One more hour left. Only one more. Let's go. And we're just moments away from the closure of the Grand Bridge. You can see a lot of SLU students behind me have gathered here. Why'd you guys come out to the closing?
Yeah, I was expecting my commute to get an iPad 2 tomorrow morning. The third day of sales, so.
And how's it going to affect your commute?
No idea yet. I was hoping to take Metrolink. Don't know if they're going to be open or how to get there. So I'm closing it off at the end.
Look at this. Hold on a second. They're putting barricades out. You get this, Brett?
I'm getting it.
We got people down here in lawn chairs having a good old time.
Have a little brewski here. So why did you guys come out for the Grand Bridge closing?
They don't care.
No one wants to answer the camera. 4 years.
All right.
Well, that's going to be on TV.
Now we'll cut.
Got another lawn chair coming out here.
The barricades up with John Roper here. Southbound Grand is now closed. It's almost 3 o'clock. They're getting ready to close the rest of it. We're here.
Now you don't have to.
The Grand Metrolink station's closed right now, as is the Grand Bridge. And have some people out here in lawn chairs making some noise. The Grand Bridge is closed. We're closed. Yeah. Uh-oh. Gonna get hit. We got a bunch of revelers here. Southbound Grand is closed. We got lawn chairs out here. We got people out here yelling at them. They should not be doing this right now. The Grand Bridge is now closed. These people would all be ticketed if we had a police officer here. The Grand Bridge is closed.
It's actually not.
With detour signs now posted, the Grand Bridge is expected to remain closed for the next 14 months. The nearly 30,000 motorists that use the bridge each day are now faced with detours and long lines of traffic as they find their way around the now partially demolished bridge, which is over a half-century old. Now, the Grand Metro station will be affected by the construction as well, though crews are saying they will try to minimize the impact to commuters who use the light rail system. But it will be closed for the next few weeks. In Midtown, Mark Zinn, Mondays in Midtown.
And again, that was last week when they closed down the bridge, pouring down rain. Again, great conditions. Who could ask for 35 degrees and rain? Great time to be outside at nighttime. And with the help of photojournalist Noah Bierman, we got to look at some of the pictures of construction. The rest of this bridge, for the most part, will be taken down next weekend. So look for some footage from on next week's show from the demo. They're going to bring in some heavy machinery, I'm being told. And again, that's why that Metrolink station is closed for the next few weeks. Like I said earlier, it's Education Week, and we have some great information to share with you. There's something going on every day this week, but notably 2 things. As I told you earlier, there is Waiting for... You know, there's 3 things. As I told you earlier, there's Waiting for Superman will be played tonight in the Bush Student Center. Tomorrow night, a comprehensive panel discussion on education featuring the Missouri's Deputy Commissioner of Higher Education and Mondays in Midtown public servant contributor Marlene Davis. She's the alderwoman of the 19th Ward, and as well as some other local and statewide officials. That's tomorrow night in the Bush Student Center. I'll be moderating that panel discussion. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, Wednesday night, Michelle Rhee. She's the former chancellor of the public schools system in Washington, D.C. She'll be speaking. It's a keynote event. She'll be speaking Wednesday night in the Bush Student Center about education reform, among other things. And if you want any more information about Education Week from the Great Issues Committee, log on to their Facebook page. They're on Facebook. Just search Great Issues Committee in the search tab in Facebook. Good. Now, switching to earthquakes. Huge 9.0 earthquake happened during our spring break, and the effects of it we're definitely seeing during our spring break. We wanted to get some more information about this earthquake and the tsunami that was attributed with this earthquake, so we went to the official seismologist of Mondays in Midtown, Dr. Lyles Corner, earlier today. Take a look.
Okay. Well, when the earthquake happened, the seafloor moved, and so you have the Pacific plate subducting underneath Japan, and so the 2 plates are locked, and then suddenly they break, and so this Japan, the plate with Japan on it, then moves up, and the seafloor then moves, and so that moves the ocean above it, and so the displacement of the ocean water then generates the tsunami. And that is showing how the tsunami propagated across the Pacific Ocean. So you can see the largest amplitudes were right by where the earthquake occurred offshore Japan, but the wave propagated across the entire Pacific Ocean, and you can see that also leaked out into the Atlantic and Indian Oceans, and really could be observed even just a few centimeters at many locations around.
And you know, what affects the path of some of these tsunami waves? I mean, it looks like some of the areas are orange while other ones just nearby are yellow.
Right, you can see some really interesting patterns in the amplitudes going across the ocean. And this is affected by the seafloor topography. So you may have underwater volcanoes or mid-ocean ridges that are different elevations above the seafloor.
Sorry. So this is the, I guess, a model of the similar nuclear power plant in Japan, the reactor, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And so you can see here in the middle, you have the reactor vessel where the fission takes place. They're actually generating power for the electric grid. And it's surrounded by a number of containment walls. So in case of a breach, you have several lines of defense against that. And then once the nuclear fuel has been used to generate power, it's transported to what they call the spent fuel pool, up several stories high actually, and it's within that that the fuel is stored and it's kept underwater to keep it cool and also to contain the radiation in there. So
what happened with the tsunami wave? The tsunami wave came and I guess it took out some of the generators?
Right, and so when the earthquake occurred, at this particular plant, they had 6 reactors, and so 3 were in operation when the earthquake occurred, and Japan has warning systems, so those 3 reactors were automatically turned off by the earthquake. And then there were another 3 reactors on site that had actually been offline for routine maintenance at the time of the earthquake. And so what happened then, the earthquake happened and then this giant tsunami came in and inundated the plant. And it was actually the tsunami that caused the problem. The tsunami inundated the backup diesel generators for this plant. And so the diesel generators then are needed for keeping the water level.
So this is a map of nuclear power plants worldwide relative to, I guess, fault lines and earthquakes. So in terms of our situation, though, I mean, wasn't the tsunami the greatest risk, you know, so the nuclear power plants that are, I guess, near the coast, like Japan? Wasn't that the biggest threat from at least this nuclear situation?
Yeah, it certainly was. Along the west coast, you can see there are several power plants. I guess in California there's a couple. I've certainly seen the San Onofre plant right along the Pacific Ocean. And so, yeah, if the tsunami had come in, that certainly could have been.
Well, why do they put, you know, it seems to me at least that it's kind of a stupid measure, you know, pardon my language, but stupid to put a nuclear power plant so close to an ocean where the threat of tsunamis are real. Is that your feeling too and your understanding?
Well, you know, there are certainly many things they take into account in terms of where to situate the plants, and you need to have them, you know, in a place near population centers, you know, if you want to actually supply the people with enough energy. So people like to live along the coast, and in that sense it makes sense. But of course you also, whenever you build a plant, you need to take into account whatever natural disasters you may have, whether it's earthquakes or tsunamis or something else. And in this case, they probably took into I assume they took into account, you know, actually they took into account earthquakes in terms of building the plants. I heard about the San Onofre plant. I think they, you know, designed it to withstand a magnitude 7 earthquake. And if they're right along the coast, so presumably they thought about tsunamis too.
Do you think that this recent earthquake and tsunami with Japan and the fallout from that nuclear incident will, I guess, impede the progress of future building, I guess, or future enhancements of nuclear energy in the United States and around the world?
Well, I'm a scientist, so I don't know that I'm going to give you a political opinion on that. Just from listening to the news recently, I've certainly, you know, heard people be concerned about that. Heard of letters going around asking, you know, the U.S. to stop all nuclear power plant construction,
I mean, it just seems, and like Ameren said, that the Callaway County plant in the middle of Missouri is nowhere near a huge water source that could cause a tsunami, so there's no big concern. I guess we'll have to see what happens, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks for coming on Mondays in Midtown.
Sure.
And again, that was Dr. Linda Warren She is the official seismologist of Mondays in Midtown. Ties all over the place. It's a little windy out here underneath the closed Grand Bridge, but she has a lot of insight. She teaches a class called Seismology of Nuclear Explosions, so she knows her stuff, and we appreciate her coming on the program. Willie McKenna, our senior sports analyst, went down to Jupiter, Florida for spring training and caught up with one of the new young and up-and-coming, perhaps, Cardinals players.
Thanks, Mark. I went down to for spring break. I went down to spring training, checked out the Cardinals, and here's an interview. John Rooney interviewing Matt Carpenter, one of the up-and-coming young guys from the minor leagues. Could see him on the major league roster. Take it away, John.
And your rise to the minor leagues. We were at a dinner in St. Louis, the baseball writers, when you won the Player of the Year for the Cardinal minor league system. Has it all been going a little fast for you, or have you been able to take it in at all?
It's definitely going fast, but it's been enjoyable, and I just couldn't be more blessed, and I've just really tried to understand the opportunity that I've had, and I'm just taking it day by day.
Well, Tony has thrown Mr. Carpenter into the fire, not against some guys who might be giving their manager a look or an opportunity from the minor league system. You have faced top-notch pitching. How's your approach been to that and your preparation for that?
The thing that I've noticed the most is, the amount of good pitches to hit you have are a lot smaller as opposed to the minor leagues. You just gotta be real disciplined, and when you get that pitch, whether it's one in a bat or one in a game, you gotta be ready to hit it. And that's kind of the approach I've taken. I just look for, trying to make them go over the plate, and when they do, don't miss it.
And playing a little bit in the outfield, but getting a chance to go to third base. You threw out Michael Bourne of the Houston Astros trying to bunt his way on. And I thought you had Bonifacio today, but that was a good play there too. You've been up to the challenge, haven't you?
I'm trying to. Like I said, I'm just trying to play good baseball and make the best of my opportunity.
And we wish you all the best too, man. Thank you. That's Matt Carpenter. One of my favorites is watching him in spring training even before he had his arm problems, and then last year when there was a competition for a spot open in the rotation. You like the way I did not say fifth starter? You like that? See, Tony hasn't, there is no such thing as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with Tony. Who is ever on the mound that day is number 1. It doesn't matter. But there is a spot open in the rotation right now, and Tony said that favors Kyle McClellan. Last year, Kyle was up for that, right along with this gentleman. Let's welcome Jaime Garcia. And Jaime pitched as well as anybody we saw in spring training last year. How's it going for you right now, Jaime?
I'm healthy. I'm coming in the spring, the best shape I've ever been, physically and mentally. I already had a full year of experience behind my back. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited with the group of guys we have. Everybody's healthy and ready to go. Just looking forward to the season start.
I am too, because you have a rotation with Carpenter in there, then Loesch and Westbrook, yourself. Kyle wins that job. You guys really pull for each other, don't you?
Yeah, they're all great. We all, like Tony's saying, I don't feel like there's any 5 or 4 guy. We all learning from each other, and I see Chris Carpenter learning the thing from me. It just makes me a better person, and it's a great group of guys. I'm so grateful to have those guys around and have a chance to learn from them.
Well, last year, Jaime had a signature game against the San Francisco Giants where he just shut them down. And we didn't make much money with the beer vendors and the concessionaires that day because it was a fast ball game. But tell us what that was like to go out there and get your first complete game shutout.
Oh, that was awesome. All the support the fans gave me that game, that standing ovation they gave me when I went out to bat, it's a great feeling, and it just makes you want to do it again, and hopefully it happens a couple times this year.
You working on anything in particular in spring training?
Just basically getting my work in and working my, getting my first pitch for strike and get all my pitches going.
And get that changeup going. That's a dandy.
Yeah.
That's Jaime Garcia.
Okay, thanks a lot, Willie, for that report. We'll be right back. Hey there, Billikens fans. This is Mark Zinn of Mondays in Midtown, the hottest public affairs news magazine, coming to you from the West Pine Gymnasium, the site of the 2nd annual Hoops for Haiti charity basketball event. Pow. It's a faculty versus student event, so that means students, if your teacher's a real battle axe, you can do a move and shot combo on them. Hey, faculty, if you want to break your student's ankle, make it happen. This event takes place on Saturday, March 26th, right here at West Pine at 3 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun. See you there. That commercial highlights Hoops for Haiti. That event's taking place this Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, at the West Pine Gymnasium. Myself, alongside with Neil DeRoss, like last year, will be commentating the game, and it will be a lot of fun. So join us this Saturday, 3 p.m., West Pine Gymnasium, to watch the students dominate the faculty and staff. Speaking of faculty and staff, here's SLU Communication Professor, Dr. Z Schafer.
Today I just wanted to talk real briefly about the interesting connections between communication and politics. This will be especially relevant for students that are residents of the state of Missouri. But back in November, the voters of the state of Missouri passed a proposition called Proposition B that seek to limit what dog breeders are currently capable of doing. It passed with an overwhelming majority. I believe it was about 53% of the voters passed that. But what we see going on now is that the dog breeders that will most likely be put out of business from that law taking effect this coming November have rallied and are now getting the bill changed in the legislative process. The point being is this: as you get older in life, some things will become more important to you, but the only way those things will become important to others is to communicate those issues clearly and coherently and consistently. So you've got to be able to have an understanding of the media and how you can use that to attain your interests. So depending on where you sit for the dogs in Proposition B is a different issue. But what's interesting from a communication standpoint is how the Prop B opponents are now currently using the media and political campaigns to undermine a law that hasn't even been put into effect yet.
And again, that was Dr. Z Schafer. If you've got a comment about Dr. Z Schafer, as I'm sure some of these passengers on the slow-going Metrolink station, Metrolink arriving at the closed Grand Station, probably have thoughts and comments about Dr. Z Schafer's commentary. Mondays at midtown@gmail.com or Facebook us, because social media is important. It's now time for our good friend Lyle Wilson's Corner. Here's Lyles Corner.
Whoa, it's Lyles Corner, boys and girls, come on down. You'll learn about cool things around the town. It's Lyles Corner!
We good?
Yeah.
We're rolling? We're here at Magic of the Mind, the St. Louis Alzheimer's Association's charity fundraiser event. Greg, Chris, and myself came to support the organization. You know, we had the funds available to get a plate here at this wonderful table. We had a delicious dinner with a great salad with a little walnut dressing, some chicken in mango salsa reduction, and some
poached pears.
Oh yeah, those pears, so good. And you know, it was really a great event. We had a magician come and perform. We also have a lovely singer, Aaron Bodie, performing right now, a St. Louis native. And so, you know, just doing our best to support the cause to cure Alzheimer's eventually, one day, we hope. And, you know, you can take a look around. The party's kind of dying because we're party animals, but...
Still going strong?
Still going strong.
10:30, no big deal?
No bigs.
Check out those centerpieces. Those look nice. Look pretty nice.
Take one home.
There's the bar over there. It's an open bar.
Open bar, dude!
And as with any open bar, the idea is to just drink it dry. So we've been here long past the other people who come. So. But it's for a good cause. So that's why we're sticking it out.
We're not going home. We're not leaving the open bar until Alzheimer's is cured. This is our plan.
We'll be video conferencing until Alzheimer's is cured. So, you know, we'll start a Twitter feed, and whenever that happens, you just let us know and we can stop drinking.
307, 308, 309, 310, 311. 12, 113.
It's Lyles Corner!
Captivating corner segment. Remember this, the views expressed on Lyles Corner don't necessarily reflect those of Mondays in Midtown, the University, the Grand Bridge, Rich Bradley, or Father Biondi. Just remember that. Now for our newest segment, we're going to look at music. We always try to get in touch, get in contact and touch the popular culture of society. So we brought on a newest correspondent and newest contributor to Mondays in Midtown, Luke Zappa. Luke, I know you got some music information about some music coming up this week here in St. Louis.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. We got a lot happening in St. Louis this week. I'm just going to go ahead and take some time, highlight two of them, my two picks, the two shows I'm going to go ahead and attend. The first one is tomorrow, Tuesday. It's at the Firebird, which is just down the street. It's going to run you about 12 to 14 bucks, and it is the band known as the Greenhorns. I don't know if you're familiar with Jack White and the White Stripes, but it goes back to him. Two of the guys in the Greenhorns were also in the Raconteurs, which was Jack White's first band. Little pre-Jack White and the White Stripes action for you. They're good, great American music happening. And then on Wednesday, happening right here at the Billiken Club, is going to be a band known as Dale Earnhardt Jr. with special guest Reptar, who came here just maybe about a month and a half ago, played an amazing set. They're going to be back showing, giving us a good time, just like they did last time, and I'm going to be there, and it's free, so all of you should be there as well. All right, plenty more happening in St. Louis, of course. If you want some more, check out the free edition of the Riverfront Times, or go ahead and go on to KDHX's website, the public radio station here in St. Louis, and they can give you a full list of what's happening. Thanks.
Thanks, Luke. I already feel hipper. So that's the show this week, so let's go over some final thoughts real quick. The Grand Bridge, it's closed for a long time. Go find yourself a detour route if you haven't already. I'm sure you already have. Other projects coming up on Mondays in Midtown as we wind down this school year. Mayor Slay will be coming on our show again. We'll sit down with him probably in the next few weeks, so look forward to that. We'll have Michelle Rhee, an exclusive sit down with Michelle Rhee. She's, again, the chancellor, the former chancellor of the DC's public school system. That'll be next week, and we'll look at the Grand Bridge as always, and other fun stuff as well, because that's what it is. MondaysInMidtown@gmail.com. Tweet us, Facebook us. You can get on blogs and write rumors about us. It's fine. So that's our show from this week from the closed Grand Bridge, right below it at least, on Scott Avenue. I'm Mark Zinn. From all of us here at Mondays in Midtown, we hope you enjoy this Alonzo Garbanzo clip of the week.